Hello, my name is Jeremy, and this is the True Crime Chronicles channel. In 2006, 20-year-old Iana Kasian, originally from Ukraine, ventured to the United States, fueled by aspirations to forge a new life. Despite holding a law degree, she settled in Los Angeles, working as a translator. Iana harbored dreams of permanent residency in the US, aiming to carve out a career, marry, have children, and raise them in this land of opportunity. Nearly a decade later, in 2015, Iana's path crossed with Blake Label, a 34-year-old affluent man from a wealthy Canadian family with a legacy in the real estate business. Although Blake was raised in an affluent family environment in Toronto, his relationship with his family was fraught with tension. He often felt overshadowed by his older brother Cody, who was actively involved in the family's real estate ventures and owned a record company. The Label family's wealth has a long-standing history, marked by significant prosperity. On his mother's side, Blake's grandfather established a flourishing plastic manufacturing empire. On his father's side, his grandfather was a distinguished builder in Toronto, adding to the family's affluence. Despite their financial success, the family was not without its internal strife. Blake's parents underwent a divorce, resulting in Cody living with his father while Blake resided with his mother. A pivotal moment came in 2011 with the passing of their mother. This event sparked a contentious legal battle between the two brothers over her substantial multi-million-dollar inheritance. The ensuing battle over their mother's $12 million estate in 2011 only deepened the rift, with Blake receiving less than half, straining his relationship with his father. In the wake of these familial disputes, Blake relocated to Hollywood in 2011, pursuing a career in directing and production. Despite some viewing him as merely a wealthy heir, others noted his genuine commitment and diligence. His portfolio included an array of projects, such as the low-budget film Bald, about a college student raising money for a hair transplant through a unique website, and Cosmic Balls, an animated series inspired by a Mel Brooks film. His most ambitious venture was a graphic novel titled The Syndrome, with plans to adapt it into a television series. Blake Label's success and affluence made him a magnet for attractive women. In 2006, he encountered Amanda Brown, a model, and their relationship swiftly progressed to marriage. The couple settled into a luxurious Beverly Hills residence, a setting that matched Amanda's penchant for parties. She often encouraged Blake to join her in social gatherings, but Blake leaned towards being an introvert, favoring quiet evenings at home and indulging in his comic book collection. The dynamics of their relationship shifted with the birth of their son in 2015. However, a more dramatic change occurred in 2017, when Amanda became pregnant again. At this point, Blake decided that they needed to break up, as he had a new girlfriend, Iana Kasian. Blake confided in Iana Kasian, a Ukrainian woman, about the disintegration of his marriage. This revelation marked the beginning of a fervent romance between Blake and Iana. Their relationship was characterized by travel, fine dining, and lavish gifts, including an expensive Mercedes for Iana. The couple eventually decided to cohabit in an apartment in West Hollywood. It wasn't long before Iana discovered she was expecting a child. Blake persistently reassured Iana that his divorce was nearing completion, promising her a future together. In a significant step forward, he proposed to Iana, filling her with immense happiness. Iana's mother, Olga Kasian, traveled from Ukraine to the United States to meet the man who was planning to become her daughter's husband. Olga's visit also served the purpose of helping Iana through her pregnancy and with the preparations for the new addition to the family. With Blake's proposal, Iana's life appeared to be on a path filled with hope and joy, anticipating marriage and the expansion of their family. The arrival of their daughter Diana marked a joyful time for Iana and Blake, seemingly cementing their bond. Blake exhibited a newfound affection and care towards Iana, affectionately addressing her in Russian as "my love." However, this idyllic phase was overshadowed by Blake's growing anxieties over his financial stability. He frequently confided in a friend about his concerns regarding his older brother Cody's substantial gambling debts, fearing that Cody's extravagant lifestyle and high-stakes poker games with Russian mobsters could endanger their family. Blake's worries about potential threats from the gambling underworld loomed large in his life. While still legally married to Amanda, Blake was cohabiting with Iana, now the mother of his child. Complicating matters further, Blake was clandestinely involved with Constance Bucafuri, who resided in a house he owned, located merely 3 kilometers from his home with Iana. In mid-May 2016, the situation took a dramatic turn when Constance accused Blake of sexual assault at her residence. Following his arrest and subsequent detention, Blake's seemingly perfect life with Iana began to unravel. Although he was later released, the incident significantly strained their relationship. Despite these difficulties, Iana was firm in her decision to preserve her relationship with Blake, asking her mother, Iana Kasian, to move out with baby Diana to maintain her relationship with Blake. Then Blake rented a place for them 2 miles from his own. Iana, having left her daughter with her mother, devoted herself to saving her relationship with Blake. However, Blake's interest in Diana disappeared. Blake began to demand intimacy from Iana, even threatening to leave her for another woman. This was impossible due to recovery from a cesarean section. Blake's dominance over Iana intensified. He often commanded her. Iana Kasian implored Iana to leave Blake and join her and Diana. On May 23, 2016, Iana was out shopping with her mother, Olga. Midway through, she started receiving messages from Blake, and her expression abruptly shifted. Iana mentioned she urgently needed to see Blake and hastily departed. The following day, Olga's attempts to contact Iana were met with silence. Growing increasingly anxious, Olga noted, "I had a feeling that something was wrong." She tried to call Iana 6 times to no avail. Faced with the dilemma of leaving Diana, who was asleep with no one to watch over her, Olga felt compelled to act. In her distress, Olga reached out to the police. Not being fluent in English, it took some time before she was connected with a Russian-speaking operator. Olga relayed her inability to contact her daughter, but despite her plea, there was no immediate police response. The following morning, Olga and a friend took a taxi to the residence where Iana Kasian and Blake Label lived. Approaching the gated residential complex, they circled the building, eventually spotting Blake standing by a window. Seizing the opportunity when a resident exited, they slipped inside the complex. Despite their persistent knocking and ringing at Label's 3rd-floor apartment, there was no response. In desperation, Olga called 911 again, pleading, "Help!" Police arrived swiftly but were constrained by protocol. Without any audible signs of distress from within the apartment, they couldn't forcibly enter. They attempted to contact Label by phone, leaving a voicemail. "Hello. This message is for Blake Label. This is the West Hollywood Sheriff's Station. We need to speak with you immediately." Despite their efforts, there was no response. After several hours of waiting, the officers reluctantly departed. Olga, torn between her concern and the need to care for Diana, who was with a friend 2 miles away, felt helpless. The next morning, Thursday, she returned and implored the police through tears. "I want the police to come and free my daughter." Recognizing the urgency, especially given Iana's recent childbirth, the police decided to enter the apartment. They instructed Olga to wait outside. Descending to the sidewalk, she anxiously watched as the officers obtained the building manager's keys. Confronted with additional locks on Label's door, they resorted to breaking it down. Inside, they repeatedly called for Label, but the silence remained unbroken. Upon entering, the police were immediately struck by the chaos within. The corridor doors to both bedrooms were securely locked and obstructed. Forcibly removing the door to the guest bedroom, they were met with the grim sight of bloodstains. Calls for Blake yielded no response. The main bedroom presented a new challenge. Its door was barricaded with mattresses. As officers worked to open it, the mattresses began to topple over them. From within, Blake shouted his refusal to exit, insisting Iana was not present. It took a phone call from a friend to persuade Blake to leave the room. When he finally emerged, he was clad only in his underwear. By this point, detectives had arrived and were confronted with a blood-stained headboard in the guest bedroom and a large, partially cleaned stain on the wall. Their harrowing discovery continued as they found Iana deceased, her body covered up to the chin with a Mickey Mouse blanket. The extent of her injuries was horrific. Her scalp had been removed, leaving her appearance hauntingly pale, indicative of a deeply sadistic act. Blake bore physical signs of the encounter. His face was marred with scratches and bruises, and a bite mark adorned his arm, evidence of Iana's desperate struggle. In his pants pocket lay his passport and a significant sum of money. Detectives surmised that Blake's probable plan was to dispose of Iana, erase evidence from the apartment, and flee to his native Canada. Blake Label was apprehended and handcuffed, and at that moment, Olga entered the premises. Witnessing Blake being escorted out, she broke down in tears, frantically asking, "Where is my daughter?" Her worst fears were confirmed when she was told Iana had perished. This is a photograph of Blake after his arrest, showing his face covered with scratches and bruises and a ghastly smile. During the interrogation, Blake strongly denied his involvement in Iana's death and gave no coherent explanation for the events in his apartment. His cryptic comment, "Science will tell you who did it." Forensic experts meticulously scrutinized the crime scene, revealing that efforts had been made to obscure blood evidence. A special substance and lighting technique exposed blood traces and cleaning agent residues throughout the living room. While bloodstains were initially visible only on the bed, this method revealed the entire floor was peppered with clues. The bathroom, too, was thoroughly examined, leading detectives to conclude that the crime was prolonged, occurring in various parts of the apartment. Iana had endured about 8 hours of agony, resulting in near-total blood loss, accounting for her pallid appearance upon discovery. Despite Blake's extensive efforts to erase all evidence using cleaning agents, crucial items such as the agents themselves, Iana's bedding, and clothing were missing from the apartment. Police searching the trash bins discovered a blanket bearing a handprint, notably missing part of the pinky finger. This detail matched Blake's own missing portion of his right pinky, conclusively implicating him in Iana's tragic fate. With no other suspects and no connection to the Russian mafia or Blake's jealous acquaintances, the evidence pointed solely to Blake. A trace of illegal substances was detected in Blake's blood, but the underlying question remained: why did he harm Iana? Detectives delved into finding a motive. During interrogation, Blake admitted his lack of appeal to women, suggesting his wealth was the key to his numerous romantic encounters. The theory emerged that Iana's denial of intimacy might have triggered Blake's inability to cope with rejection. In their quest to understand Blake's background, investigators sought out those who had known him from his early years. They interviewed his family, classmates, teachers, wife, mistress, and friends. Yet, none were willing to publicly discuss Blake. They all seemed unable to reconcile the man they knew with the heinous crime he was accused of. A forensic psychologist weighed in, ruling out insanity. He suggested that Blake's upbringing in an affluent family with a strained father-son relationship had fostered a deep-seated need for control, particularly over women. Blake, accustomed to getting what he desired, harbored dark, concealed fantasies. The psychologist posited that an intense altercation with Iana may have unleashed these suppressed desires. Upon examining Blake's graphic novel, Syndrome, the police were confronted with chilling parallels. The cover unsettlingly featured a doll, its scalp conspicuously absent. Delving deeper into the novel, they discovered a series of disturbing elements. These findings suggested a grim reality. Blake had seemingly brought the macabre themes of his fictional world into the tragic events that unfolded in real life. In February 2018, a significant legal victory came for the Kasian family as they won a civil lawsuit against Blake Label. The court mandated Blake to compensate Olga and Iana Kasian with $42 million. Fast forward to June 2018, 2 years post the heart-rending incident, Blake Label was brought before the court. Surveillance footage revealed that on the day of the tragic events, Blake had the presence of mind to order food delivery not once, but twice. The couriers, oblivious to the ongoing horror, noted nothing amiss, even though Iana was already in peril. The gruesome crime spanned approximately 7 to 8 hours, a period during which Blake had ample opportunity to cease his actions, yet chose not to. Cody Label, Blake's brother, was a constant presence at every court hearing, maintaining silence and declining any interaction with the media. Blake's defense attempted an unusual angle, arguing that the graphic novel Syndrome was the creation of hired authors, not Blake, and it was these authors who had brought the novel's narrative to life. Despite these claims, the court found Blake Label unequivocally guilty of the crimes committed against his partner, Iana Kasian. He was handed down a life sentence without the possibility of parole, sealing his fate within the confines of prison. Olga Kasian harbors profound regret over her inability to force entry on the day the police initially arrived. She agonizes over the possibility that her daughter, Iana, might have been saved. When the judgment was rendered, Iana and Blake's daughter, Diana, was just 2 years old. To date, the Label family has yet to provide any financial support for Diana. Iana's fervent hope was to see her daughter grow up in America, but due to financial constraints, Diana now resides in Ukraine, in the city where Iana was laid to rest. Olga Kasian shared her deep emotional connection. I find myself compelled to talk about her constantly. It somehow lightens my burden. I sense her presence in every moment of every day. If you found this story interesting, please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to share your opinion in the comments. This is Jeremy. See you in the next video.